we get spoiled in this country with the sport we get to enjoy. And last year was very much the World Cup, and we all watched Gareth Southgate and his boys do get to the semi-finals of the World Cup. This year, football will stand aside, and it'll be cricket that's coming to the forefront. And it's a fantastic year for cricket with the World Cup, the Ashes series, and one of the people who will be right at the forefront of all of that is sitting beside me at the moment, Gary Barwell, the head groundsman here at Edgbaston, and it's going to be fantastic for you, Gary, isn't it? How are you feeling sitting waiting to go into this fantastic summer of sport?
Oh, it's an amazing opportunity. Obviously, Edgbaston, we pride ourselves on a great atmosphere, really party ground, everybody comes to enjoy it, and to host the Ashes is a privilege. It's probably the biggest thing as a groundsman you will ever do. It tests your skill set, but to have the World Cup, it brings its own challenges, because obviously, as well as having the World Cup, we also have 7 county championship games that Warwickshire will play, 4 Royal London games, and obviously that's not including T20 that Warwickshire play, or Birmingham Bears, plus T20 finals day in September. We always try to pride ourselves, as myself and my colleagues, and as well as all the groundsmen around the country, that we produce the best pitches we can, so people that pay through the door just generally come for great entertainment, cricket, and go away enjoying it.
With so many events, peaking the pitches so often for so many events over the course of the next few months, have you sat down and planned how things are going to work out, or does it just carry on as normal, but you do have these peaks during the course of the summer season?
No, I mean, for me here personally, we plan. I'm a bit of a planner. We plan everything. So from our matches, our fixtures, out there now, I could tell you every pitch that's going to be used for every game. That will be till the end of the season. Odd times it slightly changes if the TV come into they need a TV pitch, but everything's planned. Our fertiliser regimes are planned around the games when we got people coming in to spray. And everything for me is planned down to, we start on March the 26th, so everything's planned around starting that. We're now looking realistically for the first few months of the season, probably now. And
is that a change from what a less busy year? Has it changed markedly over the course of the last 4 or 5 years since you've been here as head man, and how you go about doing that in the planning side of things? What I'm trying to say, I suppose, Gary, is, has it been cranked up for this year?
No, it hasn't been cranked up. I've probably planned a lot more over the years since I've been here. I think that's just how the game has gone in a general. There's more pressure TV wise around the country. That's even from county cricket level up to international cricket. But like I say, there's other sports. There's a lot of other sports around the world, around the country, that you're competing against. So you pride yourselves, and I know every cricket groundsman does. Whether it's internationally down to amateur level, they pride themselves on trying to produce the best surfaces they can, and we're no different. The only difference between myself and an amateur groundsman is, this is my job, but it's actually how many more people see it. I know captains around the country will say to their groundsmen, hopefully you've seen Edgbaston, we want our pitches like that. But no, we don't change anything. We try and produce the best pitches we can for every game we do. And if we go, hopefully, by those rules, it doesn't always work, unfortunately. We sort of, one of my old bosses, Steve Burks at Trent Bridge, said, as long as you work hard and leave everything out in the middle, you can look everybody that comes through the door in the face and say you've done the best you can.
You did mention that if I look over my right shoulder, I could probably see the pitch that's going to be used for the Ashes. You might not tell me which one it is, but how do you go about identifying that? Is it you that identifies it? Is it the location on the strip that is? How it's maybe a naive question I'm asking, but how is that one selected? It'll be the most famous 22 yards in the world for 5 days.
Yeah, I mean it's generally the same. Location is key, so it's got to be in the middle. We have a tri-vision sight screens and TV points, so you're maximising crowd and everything coming into the stadium. This year is slightly different because what you've got to work out is which big games are coming first. So we've got Cricket World Cup, so there's 5 games. So usually on a usual year here at Edgbaston, we probably would have one-day international, a test match of some kind, obviously Ashes this year, and T20 finals day. this year, because it's Cricket World Cup, instead of having one day international, we've now got 5. So that takes 3 pitches out in the middle. So what that means is that rather than have right in the middle of the square is your Ashes pitch, it's probably one to the left or the right. And again, there's a couple of things that we look at, characteristics around it. Has it got worn, through the season, so we could change it? It's going to be one of 2. We've pretty much planned it now anyway. Grass coverage is really good. I'm happy with that at the moment. It's only if there's anything, cosmetic or, even worse, somebody's scratched it or something through the season that we would change to the other one. But a lot of that is all on how the season's going.
And do you prepare a one-day pitch differently to how you would prepare a 5-day pitch?
It's a question that a lot of people ask, actually, and I think it's very different all over the country where you go. We don't. What we do is we change it slightly towards the end. So we've got our techniques that we use, and then, generally, not all the time, our one-day pitches are cut at around 5 mil. Our championship are around the 7 to 8 mil. Again, that can change slightly dependent on the weather. And what we tend to do is it will go down to the 5 mil with a couple of days to go. And that's the only real difference. We try and keep the moisture the same. We try and keep, the plant is ever so slightly drier. And that's just basically because you want good carry and bounce for a one-day pitch that hopefully, you see quite a lot of runs and people want to see spectacular cricket for one day. So, whereas a test match is bat versus ball. You want to do something in for the bowlers, something in for the batters. So if Ian Bell or if Johnny Bairstow goes out and scores 100 at Edgbaston, everybody around the country says, he really batted well. One of the best innings I've ever seen here was, I've seen quite a lot actually in my time. I've been lucky. But Virat Kohli last year against England bowling attack was fantastic. Even as a groundsman, you stand there in awe of one of the best players potentially to have played the game against some of the best bowlers that have played the game, and you stand back and go, they're playing hopefully, on a pitch that me and my team produce, so that everybody that walks into Edgbaston can go, I've enjoyed cricket today, and people will come back then. That's the way it works.
The amazing thing is you've got the World Cup, you've got 5 matches, you've got some of the favourites will be playing here over the course of those 5 games. How long is it after the final game you've got the semi-final before the start of the Ashes?
I think, good question. I think it's mid-June is the end of the World Cup.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about a month. A month's time. People always think you get a lot of time to prepare Ashes Test match cricket. Years ago, it used to be a lot more when the fixture schedule wasn't as heavy. We've had a range. We've had it where we've had about 10 days to prepare an Ashes or an international Test pitch. And then I think 2015, I think was the shortest we've had, just because we had a lot of cricket around it, and you've got to fit it in somewhere. Yeah. I think we had 6 days free pre the game.
So you'd like to think you've had a real peak with the World Cup semi-final. You'd like to think you could go off and relax and enjoy it on the beach for a while, but you won't be able to do that at all, will you?
No, I mean, if you look at it now, it's a massive year. It's a massive year for the club, massive year for all the staff within the club. We're just a cog, and that's how I look at it. Some cogs are a little bit bigger than others, and sometimes more important. But from Andy in the ticket office, he's trying to sell the best seats in the house for the people that are coming in, the families and things, whereas we're trying to produce the best pitch. So whether it may be like an Ashes pitch, which for me personally is potentially the biggest, because it just tests your skill set over that length of time. And the Ashes is so important to so many people. That's taking nothing away from an India test or a Pakistan test or South Africa, but the Ashes, the historic part of it, like I can look back in years to come and say, whether I retire tomorrow, I've managed to do as a head groundsman an Ashes test, and that's pretty special to me.
And really, it'll be that first, but despite all that's going on, that first ball and that first morning of the first Ashes test, 'cause it's the first test that's here, it'll probably be the sporting occasion of the entire summer, and that must weigh on your shoulders a little bit. Yeah,
I mean, it's a funny thing to say. Somebody asked me that once, and it's people always go, "Oh, you must enjoy it, you must love it." Yeah, when I think back to all the pitches I've produced and things have gone well, you always, hairs on the back of your neck. Jerusalem playing, things like that. But that's after the first morning of a test match. Generally, I'm on edge, and I'll be honest with you. Potentially going into my head probably wouldn't be the best place. Because
where do you watch it from?
Probably under my desk sometimes. No, I mean, I will sit outside and watch it. My team are great, they're very good. I think because I like a lot of people in whatever they do, whatever their jobs they do, they like to do it to the best of their ability. And I think because there's so many variables, weather, fixtures, players, and everything can make a big difference. You can, and I heard it the other day. A New Zealand groundsman had said you can go out there and do the same thing over and over again, and the pitch can be slightly different. And it was a really good comment, actually. It was very, very good comments from him. And I think you sit there and you sit there and you go, do you know what? If I've worked hard, everything's, my clegg readings are right, my moisture readings are right, my grass is right. All you want is just it represents Warwickshire in the way it should do. But on that, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. It gets easier as the game goes on. So probably day 2, day 3, if you ask me, some of my happiest memories is day 3 here when England won in 15. Some of the comments and the accolades we got as a group, and it is a group. I'm a massive team, people, my ground staff team. They're some of the biggest achievement things in my career. So, but because you understand it, you understand the exact highs, the lows are slightly more concerning.
Yeah. Obviously, you've mentioned the fact you're a great planner and you plan things, but are you aware of what may well be keeping you awake at night in the lead up to that first test?
No,
perhaps things that you haven't got control over. Is that, or there's no point in worrying about things you've got no control over?
I think there's a few things happened in my life recently and over time since I've been here. I do worry about it a lot. I worry about how people see me. If I'm honest with you, and I will always say that, if somebody thinks I'm a bad groundsman and I'm not a nice person, I think that'll bother me more than think somebody thought I was lazy, if that makes sense. But certain things in life reevaluate. I lost my dad recently, and that made me reevaluate a lot of things. I was very close, and he was very proud of me, which was lovely, and I was of him. But it makes you reevaluate the situation with your children. A lot of groundsmen around the country would actually say that their work-life balance is all over the place. And I think what it does is it makes you appreciate of the really good days. It maybe reevaluates the bad days, because it can send you into a dark place sometimes if you really worry about it. And I think I'd like to sort of try and get a real good level of the two, of actually enjoy a drink at night, maybe with the boys when we're finished. Say, do you know what? Let's enjoy tonight. We go again tomorrow, and keep going like that, rather than having unbelievable highs or an unbelievable lows, really.
But you mentioned the fact about, and we'll talk a little bit about it in a couple of minutes, about work-life balance and that sort of thing, and perhaps being a role model, as well as being the head groundsman at such a prestigious venue as this. The other thing that happened to you in the last couple of months was that you became the groundsman of the year at the IOG Awards back in November. Can you just talk a little bit about that and what that means to you, and what the occasion, what it does mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it was very bizarre actually. We were going up for the cricket award, and it's funny. I don't know. I can't speak what other people would say when they've won it. Is so you're going up for the cricket award. You hope you're going to win it. You invite. The team went because it was Birmingham as well. You win the cricket award, and you're ecstatic. You're really pleased. It's all the hard work you put in, all those 6 o'clocks or late finishes after a day night. Again, like a lot of people do around the country. And you're generally just and then they mention that there's obviously there's the sort of the ultimate groundsman of the year award that everybody's put into the pot, and you see around the names and the people in the room, the people that aren't nominated or have been nominated and haven't got that far, and you think, well, it's been a lovely night. The old I've had a win. We can go home now, pretty happy. And then they sort of say it's going to win. You start turning around to have a listen, really, and you're just sort of getting ready to clap someone. And they mention and they say your name, and it's probably a little bit disbelief. You walk up, and like I say, I saw a few people on the way up. I remember seeing Andy from Stoke, and people that I generally know work hard in what they do. Neil Stubley I've met a few times, work hard, promote the industry, and they're congratulating you, and then you read the names on there, and they're names that I've seen over the years, and you think this is probably, what is it now, 93, 25 years in the making. Yeah. I'm very humbled by it. I probably don't really, I don't know the best way to describe it. I don't think I fully realise what I've achieved. I realise what it helps promote, and I can then hopefully help promote. So I understand that side of it. Probably one of the nicest things in a strange way was I've got a daughter that's 13, and she went into school, and I'd sort of put it, and three of her teachers said, "Oh, I saw your dad won Groundsman of the Year," and she just sort of says, "Oh, he cuts grass." She knows what I do. I've been here and stuff, but it's like these people externally are very pleased for you, and it's like, but they're in a strange way, not people that have never really, people that know me a little bit, but there's a lot of people that should actually pat themselves on the back. Ultimately, hopefully I've achieved it, but my team are massively part of me. All the groundsmen that have given me advice along the way are part of it. All the people, even from, I've got a guy that comes to spray our outfield here, Steve, he's part of it, and there's a lot of people that, yes, my wife says, don't undervalue how you do it. You put the things in place, but actually there's a lot of people that involved. From my parents, I've said them before, but they give me my morals, they give me my values. I may stick up for myself sometimes, I think rightly, but I'm very humbled by it. The trophy's at home. The award that we got as a team is in the shed, and the other award I'd given to my dad, but it's obviously come back to me now for. So it's very humbling, really.
What was the reaction from the club, from Warwickshire? What did they say to you? What was?
It was. I know I work here, and people will always say that this is an amazing club. First and foremost, it is it's a club that is like, as I say, once a bear, always a bear. Now I'm a Leicestershire lad. I've moved from Leicestershire, which is a lovely club, to Trent Bridge, which is an amazing club as well. To come here and to honestly say this feels like my home. Some of the people that work here are truly not just good cricket people, but are truly amazing people. To say that then my director of cricket, or director of sport, Ashley Giles, who's gone on to be at England, was away in America, sent me a text message at 5 o'clock to say congratulations, is very humbling. And these are the people that, again, have to take, him and, the previous chief executive, Colin Povey here, gave me my chance. But the chief executive here now, Neil Snowball, have then gone on to give me more help, have backed me on a lot of things that we've done. So this club means a lot to me. I believe I'm I don't know the best way to describe it, that custodian of my job. So I'm trying to make it better for someone else after me. This club, it's an amazing club. It's an amazing ground. I really do enjoy. You love working. I don't do a day's work in my life really, because I come to here. I'm very lucky. I probably don't realise that now. But it was very special. The messages from the staff was great, and we all work together here. And it is people say, because you work here, but it is genuinely, the chairman puts a lunch on every year, chairman's lunch for every member of staff. I've just had it, and I get a message from him, couldn't have gone to a nicer guy, and just genuine, nice words that mean a lot.
But it does, as we said, give you a bit of a platform. And you were mentioning before we started filming about work-life balance and how perhaps that's something that could be looked at within this country, maybe not just in your industry, but in this country as a whole. Do you think that's something you've got a few views on?
Yeah, I think when you win an award like what I did, and when you hold a position with a lot of responsibility, and a lot of people look on with great fondness, and listen to how you do things, whether that be a football groundsman, cricket groundsman, tennis, golf, or in numerous other sports. I think there's an element of me that feels I've got a responsibility. I've always liked to think I'll be a person that, with that responsibility, I'd like to try and help. And when I was at Leicester, I was an apprentice, YTS apprentice, and there's only 2 apprentices, I think, that have been at Leicester, myself and Andy, who's head groundsman there now. So I like that system. I think it works well. Not everybody's academic, and I think for me, I'd like to maybe show. I'm hoping to speak to a couple of colleges that I can go in and do a presentation on groundsmanship and just say, look, I was academically clever in groundsmanship. I was okay at most of the other things, and I enjoyed sport, and it was just a natural progression. And actually, you can make a career out of it. And I think a lot of kids, boys, girls, don't realise that the career path can be very special and can be very rewarding. So I'd like to promote the industry. There's a lot of people to give a lot and a lot of experience, but actually, let's try and make things better for the generation coming in, and actually make things hopefully better for ourselves. But the generation coming in, I just want to think, if I can make it 5% better for a 21-year-old coming into the industry, actually, I've partly done my job. And if everybody does 5%, then actually the future's, because groundsmen are respected.
Have you seen how in the 25 years or whatever you've been in the industry, how perhaps the education's become more formalised, more formal, there's more of a career path in place now than perhaps there was before?
Oh, definitely. I think I started in '93 and I went on a greenkeeping course because that was the only one that was around at the time when I was, in the area. And it was very good, actually. I really enjoyed it. But there's different paths now. You can be at school still and you can choose your paths where you want to go. And I think that really helps kids that, might be more practically based. We've got a young lad here that the moment he sat on a mower to cut the outfield, his lines were as good as a guy that'd been in the job 30 years. He's a good kid. He's 21 now, works really hard, can't ask any more of him. But academically, he would be the first to say he's not an A-star student. But actually, as a groundsman, he's an A-star groundsman. So I think that's where I'd like to be. And I think colleges do it now, and there's a lot of very good colleges out there that promote the industry very well. I think it helps with people's profile, and people's profile helps them to go into the college. Oh, the groundsman at Edgbaston, he said he was a YTS, done 3 years doing that, and that he worked at Leicestershire, then he moved to Trent Bridge, and then they can see the career path you've taken, and actually, well, why can't somebody else do that? It's not like a unreasonable ask. So.
Yeah, wonderful. So when that 10th Australian wicket goes down on the afternoon of the 5th day, and we all celebrate, what do you do after that? Do you get time off? Do you get off to reflect on a 12 months? It'll be a remarkable 12 months for you.
No, I think we'll be probably playing a T20 against Worcester, I think, or something like that. No, what you do is you look around and appreciate. So generally here, I've always been one that you sort of like to say risk and reward, but if everything's gone well, I'd like to think if England are doing really well and the game's gone really well, by the 9th wicket going down, you can relax. 5th day, by about 4 o'clock, I'll probably walk round to the boys and we'll have a beer each and just say, look, just come in and just enjoy. We will have started to enjoy a bit more and it become a bit more jovial. But do you know what? Just enjoy it. You're planning for what's going to happen after the game's finished. Watering or whatever. You're preparing for the next game. Of course you are. But for half an hour, a couple of hours at least, just go and enjoy it. We may sort of go into town and have a drink together and some food, but just release the pressure. Enjoy it. You've done a test match, and generally that's what we do most nights. We'll always try and have a drink together, or as a group, just have a bit of a laugh or something at the end of a night. Whether it be a 2020 or because actually as a group, if you promote the right culture and values within that group, you will all get on hopefully anyway. So we try and have the right culture. I think that's quite important. So so we'll be doing that.
Turf Matters is involved in this year's the Cricket Groundscare Awards, and that's for groundsmen at grassroots level. You've probably come up from that level as well. Is there something you could say, a bit of advice and comment on those awards and how beneficial they might well be to the industry?
Yeah, I think they're massively important. Any award, whatever level, is important to the person that wins it and the people that are involved in it. But if you're an amateur groundsman who works all day or is retired and you basically go and work for your local club for amateur sportsmen or semi-professional sportsmen, to be acknowledged by that is probably one of the biggest achievements, because actually I come here every day and get paid. But some of these guys will go and sit on a roller for 6 or 7 hours and don't get paid. They do it because actually they might enjoy it, or it gets them out of the house. And actually to be acknowledged by people within the industry, I think is probably one of the most important things. And actually never undervalue how important people, I've seen winners in the magazines who have won it. I always have a look, because actually you think to yourself, they're doing a very good job. And without grassroots, you have no international, and that's as important as it'll ever be.
Well, thank you very much. Now, I just want to wish you all the very best for what's going to be a fantastic few months for you and your team here at Edgbaston, and congratulate you once again for the Groundsman of the Year award, and look forward to seeing how well it all goes this summer. So thank you very much, Gary. Thank you.